Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wandering Podcast, where we take advisement from outside the box. I'm Rihanna Ritter, your host. I'm an intuitive, sexuality, and authentic expression coach. Are you an accomplished professional who plays the part of having it all figured out? Who's strong for everyone else, but feels lonely, misunderstood, like you can't tell anybody the truth about how stressed you are, how not passionate you are about your life and all that you've created? I guide my clients to deep, lasting fulfillment. I re-engage them with their bodies, their pleasure, their desire. I help them align to enjoy fulfillment and prosperity in all areas of their lives.
Today, my guest is Justin Nault. He's the founder of Clovis, dedicated to helping people break free from diet culture, fitness myths, and the broken medical system. His mission is to empower others to heal their metabolism and reclaim their health through nourishment, self-acceptance, and holistic well-being. With over 650,000 followers and a thriving 12,000-member Clovis community, Justin is leading a revolution in health, showing people that true freedom comes from living authentically and rejecting toxic trends. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. So I have done every fad diet there ever has been. Keto, vegan, vegetarian. I mean, probably not everyone. Zone perfect. I lived that way for a long time. It worked, but it's just really funny how many fad diets are out there. And so tell us how you help people figure out what is right for them.
I mean, this is a perfect jump off for this conversation because what you just said is the number one thing that I hear from virtually every single person that comes to me as a new client or a prospective client, we should say. They get on the call and the first thing I hear is, Justin, I have tried everything. Number one. It's the first thing they're going to say, right? So it's fun because it helps me illustrate what I believe to be true, that I think some of the most harmful advice that has ever been given to human beings is eat less food. The idea that we have taught humans that less food is the way to health is absolutely mind-boggling. But the reason why it's an issue is because since the 1950s and the advent of hyperpalatable ultra-processed foods, we have confused food with poison. So food is only good for you in any amount. Poison is only bad for you in any amount. Never the two shall mix, right? If we mix food and poison, we're immediately going down a bad path. And so the answer to the statement that you made of, I tried everything, I try to help people see with as much empathy as possible, because I've been there, is you haven't tried everything. You've tried the same thing with 1,000 different names. And that thing is restriction. Not giving your body what it needs, whether it's total calorie restriction, whether it's carbohydrate restriction on keto, plant restriction on carnivore, meat restriction on vegan, and it goes on and on and on, right? It's always a matter of restriction. And then we get into fasting and intermittent fasting. Well, now we're abstaining from all food for a period of time. It's the entire thing is built on a false premise that food makes you fat. And it's just fundamentally incorrect. And that's the message that I've been trying to get out for years. It's fun to be around now, us recording this in 2025, because what's happened with RFK and Make America Healthy Again, and like, not to make things political, but just like that message, what RFK is saying, Casey and Callie Means coming out on all these podcasts and talking about big food corruption, big government, insurance companies, mainstream medicine, all of this. These are statements that have been said on my podcast for 8+ years now. It's just that 8 years ago, you got called a quack and accused of misinformation a lot more back then, because less people were talking about it. But it's the fundamental truth. So a lot of this, the food versus poison, I end up taking people back in time, and we can cover this if you want to, and just explaining where our modern food system comes from. Because once you understand that, the light bulb just goes off and you're like, oh, wow. Like, if you just stop eating poison, your health will work itself out. It's not calories. It's not net carbs. It's not amount of time spent in the gym. It's literally just don't eat poison. Get out of the way and you'll be a healthy person.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got GMO and we've got non-GMO. Mm-hmm. People pretty much don't understand why that matters. And I think another thing that we really don't understand is trans fat and hydrogenated oils. I think a lot of people when they started saying hydrogenated oil versus partially, it doesn't matter. It's a healthy fat that's turned into an unhealthy fat, like something that sticks in your arteries because it's got a triple bond and we can't break it through our, our own body temperature. It just doesn't get high enough to break that triple bond. And so people are eating foods with that in it and wondering why they have to get a triple bypass surgery, right? And
Yeah.
then I think we have like industrialized wheat. Before, when farming was, small farms, they weren't hybridizing the wheat. So one of the things that I do is I get wheat that is non-hybridized from Italy, and I make my own bread and pasta with it. But it's like hybridizing means that they crossed it with a grain that is a hardier grain that our system just can't break down.
Yeah.
So those are like the few things that I know about our health or food system. But if you want to go more into depth, I think that's really, really good information for people to have.
Again, great. I mean, you're given so many good jump off points because if you make bread, right? Like, do you know off the top of your head the ingredients that are in the bread that you make?
Yeah, it's
What are they?
yeast, water, flour, maybe some olive oil.
4 ingredients, right? The average product on grocery store shelves today in America has an average of 23 ingredients. And you'll find things like white bread, a loaf of white bread. You look at the ingredients, it has seed oils in it. Usually, most brands of just basic white bread that are $1 per sleeve or whatever will have preservatives, artificial chemicals. It will have seed oils in it, right? So when we go back, and this is where I bring people back in time, there's a document called the 1939 Yearbook of Agriculture that was studying the diets of Americans living in New York City at the time. Obesity was non-existent. Type 2 diabetes was non-existent. Heart disease was non-existent. The average 155-pound male was consuming, on average, 4,200 calories a day. But that 4,200 calories was red meat, butter, whole milk, bread, and potatoes, right? But the bread was 4 ingredients. Like in the 1920s, 20% of Americans still lived on a working farm. They were providing their own food for themselves. So that's where this all starts to go awry. And like you're talking about with hydrogenated oils, and hydrogenated oils are like, they're basically trying to add hydrogen to this thing for the reason that we know seed oils decrease energy production in the body. So like if we go through the whole digestive process, what is metabolism from beta oxidation to all the way down to the electron transport chain or glycolysis, right? Then you get to where we create ATP at the level of the mitochondria. There's a phospholipid membrane there. And if we're making that phospholipid membrane out of these polyunsaturated fats, which are permeable and prone to oxidation, it's like taking the Hoover Dam, where you have like let's say the Hoover Dam, where there's a chamber where the water is supposed to rush through. And that's going to create energy. So it's spinning something. The pressure of the water is spinning something that's creating energy. And then you go through and you just poke 1,000 holes through the whole dam so water can rush through all these different areas. You're just wasting energy. So this is the problem with seed oils that people don't fully understand, because you can't really create a randomized control trial for a long enough period of time to show the decrease in energy production in the body. So you have the evidence-based community coming out and saying these things are totally fine, right? Which also takes you to some of the work like Casey and Kelly Means have come out. There's been like 50,000 studies by the NIH in the last several years that prove, quote unquote, magically, that ultra processed hyperpalatable foods are totally fine for human health and wellness, right? It's like, it's really madness at this point. It's like the scientific community in America is a marketing funnel. It's a propaganda machine to sell big food products and to sell pharmaceutical drugs when those big food products make you sick. And we have this really twisted situation that we find ourselves
in. That is so true. And there's, oh gosh, why do people not understand that that is a marketing machine and that it is propaganda? We know about lobbying in Washington. We know that major food producers are pushing their own agenda and they're paying politicians to put laws through or to create a food pyramid that represents their product as something healthy. I think that's mainstream knowledge now, is it not?
It's starting to become mainstream knowledge. And it's funny because if your social media vacuum, which we all live in our own little social media algorithm vacuum, if it includes people like me, alternative health and wellness people, we almost look at these things as kind of comical. We laugh at them and joke around. Like, for instance, there was a study that came out from Stanford that rated foods on nutrient density, and they placed Lucky Charms cereal above red meat and eggs. Lucky Charms cereal more nutrient dense than meat and eggs, right? So all of us that are like somewhat educated on this, and we've gone down these rabbit holes, we kind of laugh. We're like, oh my God, that's comical. How does anybody believe that? But what people don't understand is the reason they fund that study is because that then goes to the lobbies and then gets to the politicians, and it actually creates policy. So because that happened, and there's a study to prove it, Lucky Charms are now served to all children in all public schools as part of a healthy lunch program, which is obviously a giant contract worth who knows how many billions of dollars over time to the company that makes Lucky Charms, right? So this is how the system works, where like it would be comical and it would be funny if it wasn't so horrible and
Right.
nefarious, right? It's like really it's really scary to look at this stuff. And the average person, right? You have a spouse and maybe some kids and a 40-hour work week, and I'm like, how are you supposed to go down these rabbit holes? How are you supposed to understand this stuff? So it's
Yeah.
we're trusting these big institutions, and one of the most quote unquote, it's not controversial to me, apparently it's controversial to the world. One of my most controversial opinions that I put online is that one of the number one drivers of the health crisis in America is the illusion of authority. We believe if you have a white lab coat, we need to listen to you. If you have letters behind your name, we need to listen to you. If you were educated by a certain university or academia, we need to listen to you. And then guys like me end up being very emotionally triggering to the evidence-based crowd, because I sit there and I say, listen, I understand that you have credentials behind your name. The difference is I don't believe in the perceived authority of the institution that handed you your credentials. So our conversation is already at a stopping point. I don't believe in what you think. I don't believe in what you were educated on. I believe your textbooks were brainwashing propaganda material to get you to believe you're helping people, which I do think you believe you're helping people, but you are a drug dealer.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is that they haven't questioned their own education.
Precisely.
They've worked really hard to get that degree and drench their mind in that belief system. And so then to question it is like, no way, I'm not going to do all the work to go and do the opposite and, find out what's real. But we know, I mean, we're seeing the health outcomes are just not getting better. They're getting worse. So the thing that there's a couple of things that, because I lost, I don't know, 40 pounds in 2 months. I got divorced, and pretty much ending that relationship and removing the stress of it from my life was what caused, I had cortisol levels that were just too high. And if you ask someone in a white lab coat if it's possible for a person to lose 40 pounds in 2 months, they would tell you absolutely not. There's no way the calorie deficit could be that low even if you weren't eating at all, I think. So it's interesting that people don't understand that their mindset, their stress levels affect their body, their health. And then the other thing that I did to change was to get off that diet roller coaster and off that toxic belief system, and to just start eating intuitively. And I didn't really have a sugar addiction. I already had not been eating sugar for many years because it just makes me sleepy. So my body wasn't necessarily craving sugar. I just started eating the way that my ancestors from several thousand years ago, before, industrialized agriculture, were eating. I look at, well, what were they eating? My body's probably pretty well adapted to that kind of lifestyle and eating. And that's been, it works. I feel good, and I eat red meat and butter and bread that I make myself, and some vegetables, but I'm not like a highly vegetable dense. I think it's important here and there, but it's not something that my body seems to crave for energy.
Yeah, I don't eat any leafy greens, People are like often shocked by that because I'm the health and wellness guy. I'm like, they're not nutrient dense. There's very little nutrients in them. Like, I don't look at the world or health and wellness through the lens of calories. I look at it through the lens of nutrients. So like if everybody were taught nutrients in, calories out, instead of calories in, calories out, we could fix this whole problem very, very quickly. Don't eat anything that doesn't have nutrients in it. It's like that's
Yeah.
the whole point. The reason we consume
Yeah.
calories is to get macro and micronutrients into our system because they make the whole system run. But the more important piece that you touched on that I don't think is talked about in health and wellness today is, so we have controversial opinion number one, the illusion of authority. Controversial opinion number two is, I think the second biggest reason for the health crisis in America is that people are not living lives that are aligned with who they want to be. So you have a situation where 85% of my clients are what would be considered like middle-aged women. Most of them reach the medical marker. I don't like the word, but it's just a clinical description of obesity, which is at least 30 pounds overweight. And they've been mostly sedentary and they suffer from low energy symptoms, right? They're cold all the time. Their hair is thinning. They have no libido. Their mood kind of sucks. Maybe they're on an SSRI or something like that. And I try to help them see, like, if we go back over the last 20 years, we're going to find that most of what their life consists of is things that they said yes to that were not in alignment with who they want to be.
Yeah.
And you're talking about this, which is, I love that you share this with people. Like, it's such a big transition to realize, like, this relationship is not serving me. The odds of you achieving optimal health and wellness, if you are in a relationship that is not serving you, is very low, very, very low. And most people end up, well, there are not just toxins in our food, right? Yes, there's food versus poison. I think that's critically important to understand. But there are toxic relationships. There are toxic jobs. There's toxic social media and comparison culture. There are toxic
Mm.
friend groups. There are toxic environments that you live in, right? If you hate the city you live in and every day you wake up and there's a foot of snow and you're like, I hate this place. Why do I live here? You got to move, man. Like, figure it
Yeah.
out. There are jobs everywhere. There's remote work. There's all these things. And that's the other piece is, like, people come in with my coaching and they get healthy. And I have some clients that have been with me for over 3 years because in the first 90 days, we handle the health and wellness. And they look around and they go, man, what else was I wrong about? What else can I change? And all of a sudden, they leave the job they hate. They leave an emotionally abusive relationship. They start their own business, right? You start to just wake up to this whole world, this video game of life that is available to you, and you can go in any direction you want. You just got to take the blinders off.
Oh, so many people think that they are stuck. Like,
Exactly.
for me, I stayed a lot longer than I needed to, including the job. I wanted to be this person that everybody approved of, textbook, academia approved of. I didn't understand that I didn't know who I was at all or what I wanted. And I kept just trying to run through this hamster wheel of impressing other people. And I didn't even think that that's who I was. Because, my friend groups, they would talk to me and I'll say what I really think. I do it pretty diplomatically, but women look at me and they think I'm a really confident, strong, impressive woman who's brave and successful and all of this stuff. And I was not. I was
Yeah.
pretending, and I was doing all the things just to please my family and then that family that I married into. And then finally one day I woke up and I was like, I've got like 40, 50 years left, maybe 60. This is what I'm going to do. This is it.
Right. Yeah. It's like my favorite analogy for it is, like, we've all seen this, right? Where it's like there's a closed window and there's a fly who just keeps smacking against that window. Bang, 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 bang. 6 inches to the right is a wide open window. And that fly just keeps trying to get through that glass, man. It's like bang, bang, bang. Like, dude, a slight adjustment to your approach, and you can be free as a bird, sailing off and living the
Yeah.
life of your dreams, out in nature, flying around, right? That's really where most people find themselves. And it's because of these societal norms, right? We go back to the authority piece. It's like we were raised in public school. Raise your hand, speak when spoken to. You have to ask permission when your body tells you it has to use the restroom. And someone
Right.
says, no, you can't use the restroom, and we listen to that person.
Right.
Like, creativity, stunted. Complex thinking, stunted. Critical thinking, stunted. It is the authorities know better than you. And we saw this obviously in the last few years with what happened globally. Everybody knows this thing that happened globally where it was just like, everybody shut up. We're telling you what to do and you will do exactly what we tell you to do and you will like it. Right. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, and I love that you shared your story too, because even me, like I had a 15-year music career. I was playing over 300 shows a year. I had a reality TV show on ABC by the time I was 25. I released albums. My music is in TV shows and movies. I had a successful YouTube channel, all this stuff. I stayed for 5 years too long. I was completely miserable. By the end of it, I was just like fulfilling this thing where like I thought when I was a kid that if I became famous, everything would be great. And it was just like this constant seeking external validation. And I started talk therapy in my late 20s because I realized I had it pointed out to me by a romantic relationship that I was in. They're like, your performer switch is stuck in the on position. You don't know who you are. So I didn't know where performer Justin stopped and where authentic Justin began. So I went on a 10-year journey of figuring out who the hell that is, who is the guy that's sitting in front of you right now. But it was brutal to do that. It was really brutal. And I walked away from 95% of my income to do it. You know, but it's the same thing. It's like, am I standing in a prison cell and the door is wide open and I'm just choosing to stay here? Like I have a long time left on this earth, right? I was having these thoughts at 26 years old. I'm like, man, I got to do something about this. Now I'm 38 and happier than ever.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the income piece is so challenging because when you
Mm-hmm.
make a certain amount of money and you walk away from that, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's a major, it's one thing to go from no money to a lot of money. To go from a lot of money to very little money is
Yeah.
it's a whole different ball game. But also, are you willing to sacrifice who you are just to make this money? Like we put so much importance on how much money we have,
Mm-hmm.
and why are we doing that? For us, so other people will think we're good enough.
Totally. Yeah.
Such a strange, but I love that you talked about schools because I have two young kids in school, and it's so hard to send them there every day because
Mm.
they are bored. um, they're
Yeah.
really really smart and it's not that challenging for them, but the
Yeah.
challenging piece is the sitting still and the authoritarian, like, don't run, you can't run on the playground. um, you have to wear certain shoes, you need to wear closed-toed like running shoes, but don't run. And
Mm-hmm.
all of the authoritarian stuff that you told, and I'm teaching my kids pretty much the opposite at home. So they've
Yeah.
got this conflicting view. And then when they go to their dad's house, he's very much control, you know, he's got his own emotional stuff. But
Sure.
it's just so hard for kids. I would think right now has got to be one of the most confusing times for young kids who have parents that are somewhat awake, who are
Mm.
teaching them about food and about, you know, it's okay to have your emotions. It's
Mm.
okay to want what you want. And then they have to go to school and deal with this other still command control environment.
Yeah, totally. It's, you know, there's a lot of pushback around this stuff too. It's like I use the term food versus poison on purpose because it's fundamentally what I believe with my whole heart. That if something is not food that exists in nature, it does not belong in your body, right? You could hike through the forest for the next 100 years and you will never stumble upon a bagel tree. It's not going to happen, right? So our community is a beautiful community of amazing friends here in Austin who are all very like-minded, and their kids are 5 and 7 years old, and they're in the grocery store and they pick up the thing and they look at the ingredients and they go, "Oh, poison," and they put it back. They know, right?
Oh,
And
that's
there's
good.
so many parents that will say, "Oh, you can't teach the kid that this is poison," but it is. It is poison. Why would I not teach my child? I have my first coming in July, by the way. I'm not a parent yet. I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. But I think about, I'm like, why would I not? I'm going to teach my kid not to go near a rattlesnake. Why wouldn't I teach my kid not to eat Doritos? You know what I mean? It's just like, this is, I mean, I don't know the word for it, like natural selection, right? Like, just don't eat that. It's toxic. It's made in a
Yeah.
factory and is designed to addict you to it. There are food engineers who created this to be addicting. Why would you put that in your mouth? And then you get to the piece, like you said, with the shoulds with all your family members and everything. I did a post recently about how if you start a health and wellness journey and you're making better decisions and you're getting healthy, and the people closest to you are teasing you and shaming you for it, like, "Oh, come on, just have some bread. What do you mean you're not going to drink? It's happy hour. What are you doing?" Or the birthday party, like, "What? You're not going to give your kid cake? Look, your kid is left out. He's the only kid not eating cake." Blah, 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 blah. This whole thing. It's like, this is just a matter, again, of authority. We're so used to people telling us what to do. And public school tries to make us fit a mold. It stomps down outliers. That's really what society does, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to do the internal work. All of my work with clients starts with self-love. Number one, we're going to talk about food, sure, but we're going to talk about self-worth and self-love. Because for me, I'm going to be extremely vigilant, and I'm really good at respectful, kind boundary setting. Every member of my family knows already they are not going to give poison to my kid when I'm not around, or we're going to have a problem that is going to remove them from my life.
Yeah.
So do you want to be a part of this child's life? Because these are the boundaries that me and my fiance have on how our kid's going to be fed, and this is what we teach them, right? Because I get it all the time. Oh, it's at church, and it's at sports, and it's at this, and it's at that, and everyone gives them Krispy Kreme and chips and blah 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 blah. And it's up to you to talk to the baseball coach. You don't give my kid poison. If you do, we're out of here. Don't make me ask you twice. You know?
Yeah.
You're a great person. You're amazing. You're an amazing coach. I love this. I love being a part of this community. This is great, man. But I have some hard boundaries. Cool. Everybody good? Amazing. Right?
Yeah.
But people are terrified of doing that. I mean, women come to me when they first start working with me, and like they're afraid to order a burger with no bun because it's like they don't want to upset the server, and they're like feeling their friends are going to judge them. And it's this crazy, like, fit the mold of society. Don't stand out. Don't rock the boat. You know, that's what we got to work on.
Dang. Yeah. I love that you brought up the snack and the sports, like the parents. It is so strange because it seems like some women, it seems like women in particular are a little more affected by this need to please and be a perfect. And, you know, we have all the psychology around what, like you said, don't eat, eat less, eat nothing, restrict yourself so that you'll be this body type that you're never going to be. Even your bones are not structured that way. They're just
For
not
sure.
gonna,
Yeah.
your body's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
And that body type is not superior. It's just different.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it seems like some of these women, like with their to-do list and their constant go, go, go thing, like some of them, the snack after the sports game, like the children, they don't need a snack. They don't need a goodie bag after they play their game. But we have this tradition where there's a family each week that has to provide the snack to the kids after their game. And it's like they played for 1 hour, like feed them breakfast, feed them lunch, and they don't really need this snack, but it's like this goodie bag. And some mom like tie ribbons and they get the bag that has soccer balls all over it. And then it's got to be the best snack. You've got the healthy moms who do the healthy snack. And then you've got the moms that do the candy that want to please the kids. And it's just so bizarre. And every team I'm on, I'm like, we could just skip that whole thing. Let's just not do the snack. Like, we don't need another thing to do.
Totally. And it's when you analyze that for what it is, right? It's like I use the concepts in my coaching of other esteem and self-esteem. Most people are completely driven and incentivized by other esteem. It's what I was when I was a musician. I didn't have high self-worth. I didn't have high self-love. I was told every day for 15 years how sexy I am, how handsome I am. I have the best voice that this person has ever heard, and they want to take a picture with me, and they want to do a selfie video and send it to their friends, right? Like, I dealt with that every single night of my life. Never felt it. It bounced off me like rubber. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. You want a hug? Okay, cool. Ha, right? And like, it was just this game of other esteem. Self-esteem was non-existent because I'd built my entire life. I started playing piano when I was 8 years old. And all the parents were like, this is the next Billy Joel. This kid is a phenom, right? And then by 16 years old, I'm performing at local talent shows for 1,000 people, and I'm on the news, and everyone's like, my entire identity was built around this thing. So my little boy brain became this like, I am loved because this. I'm charismatic. I'm a performer. I'm handsome, whatever it is, right? And I was completely wrapped up in that, and I didn't know how to get out of it. So the last 5 years of my music career is me playing 300 shows a night and being drunk for all of them. So, and in my mind, it's like, well, I'm just partying. This is what we do. We sing. Everyone's happy. Everyone's drinking. We're doing shots. We're having a good time. But I was completely dissociating from the situation because I didn't know how to feel anything. There's no intimate connection with these people. They already have an idea. They're projecting rock star on me, right? I have to live up to this thing now, no matter how I feel. I could have had a family member die that day. I still got to get on stage like, what's up, everybody? How you doing? You know, it's just this constant faking. And it's just what does your faking look like? That's what my faking looked like. But these moms, it's like, what happens if you don't have the best snacks with the fanciest ribbons and the this and that, the other thing, the keeping up with the Joneses? What if you don't have any of that? What does it say about you? Because if you love yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, ever. Which is that's where I find myself in a situation now where it's like every dollar I make, I'm fully in charge of. I run all my own businesses. I don't have health insurance. I don't have a 401k. I do whatever I want in the world, right? Just like there's nobody telling me what to do ever. But all those decisions I make, what do you mean you don't have health insurance? What do you mean you don't have a 401k? What do you mean that all these things, job security, right? I'm like, I have the best job security in the world because it's me. I get dollars for
Right.
being myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I also don't have health insurance. I'm like, I'm not going to pay $1,000 a month when I don't ever go to the doctor. I'm
No.
not sick.
For what? Yeah, it is the biggest racket. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, oh, but you mentioned how, all of that outside validation was just bouncing off of you and you weren't feeling it. And I totally agree because I would get all those compliments from all those different women about how brave and successful I was. And I was like, I felt like an imposter all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was, because I was doing well at what I was doing, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't who I really was. And it's amazing the journey that you need to take if you bury yourself so deeply in other people's expectations, how much work it can take to get into yourself and find out who you are. Like,
Yeah.
it's got to take. What are some of the things that you and your clients have experienced on that journey when they're, learning about self-love?
I love it. I'm going to dive into tactical with you, but I want to just pause here and say that, like, ironically, what ends up happening is these women are applauding you and calling you courageous and brave and all these things. But like what you're doing at the time of fitting the mold is sort of it's a negative word, but it's just like we'll use it as data. It's like the cowardly thing to do.
Yeah.
The you became the courageous and brave woman that they thought you were the moment you rejected all of that and went on your own path, right? It's like that's so ironically you're in this thing getting this compliment of how brave and courageous you are, and you're like, actually, like, oh shoot, I'm kind of caring what everybody thinks. Like internally, it feels misaligned. Now, if I sit here and I say, actually, this story that you've told with me of the changes that you've made, the transition out of your relationship, all these things, that's incredibly brave. You became that courageous, brave woman, which you already were. You just had to reveal that by doing the opposite of what was getting you the accolades for being brave and courageous. It's a very like, it's this like different frame to look at things through. You know, it's
It
incredible.
is, and I got a lot of shit for it.
Exactly, right? And then now they're angry at you, right? Well, you've broken the mold. How dare you? You know, and all of a sudden all the compliments are gone and you're the crazy person.
Yeah, yeah.
Wild.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And this is the thing, right? With my clients, to go back to your question, every client that comes to me, the first thing that they get day one, which is a daily non-negotiable, is called daily mirror work. And they stand in a mirror by themselves in the least amount of clothing they're comfortable with. And I say, don't stretch it. If you really like have a lot of body image stuff, like don't do this naked. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Baby step your way into this. You stand in a mirror, look yourself in the eyes, out loud, say, I love you 10 times and really try to mean it. Fake it till you make it, whatever you got to do. And it is the single biggest pushback I get of everything I ask people to do. They're like, I'll clean out my pantry. I'll eat what you tell me to eat. I'll hit macros. I'll go to the gym. What do you need me to do? What do you need to do? 30 days in, I'm like, how many days of daily mirror work have you done? They're like, I tried it once and it just felt really weird. I haven't been back since. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is the thing we need to do. Some women burst into tears the first time they try it. They get to the third, I love you, and they're crying, right? A lot of men will just outright refuse. And then I get them to do that. And then a lot of men end up crying when they do daily mirror work. What's happening there, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? We have journal practices that go back to the first time you were a little girl and heard about your mom or a family member or another woman talking about fitting into skinny jeans or counting calories or weighing themselves on the scale. Because there are a lot of women that we go back to childhood and they're like, no, 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 my mom was amazing. My mom told me how beautiful I am. She said I'm perfect exactly the way I am. Don't worry about my body. Everything was like speaking, speaking, speaking. Really beautiful moms that loved their children. I'm like, cool, that's great. I love that they talked to you that way. When was the first time you saw your mom weigh herself? And they're like, oh, every single day. Okay. When
Yeah.
did you see your mom on a diet? Oh, she was always eating something different than the family. When did you see your mom trying to fit into a dress or skinny jeans? Oh, every day. Right. There's a coach named Peter Crone. He has an amazing um,
Yeah.
statement where he just, yeah. Peter says, your children will do a terrible job listening to you, and they will do an amazing job becoming you. So we're not
So
blaming
true.
anybody, right? We're just going back in time to gather the data of where did your belief system come from. It doesn't matter what mom told you because you did monkey see, monkey do. You saw mom want the skinny jeans and weighing herself every day and restricting food and all these things, and you just mimicked that. So we do a lot of journal work around that. It's called the Food and You journal prompt that I start people with. We go back in time, men and women. We tease these things apart. Where do your beliefs come from? We do the self-work practice, the self-love practice daily. I have a 40 slides meditation that's just teaching people to be proud of themselves in very what seem to be non-meaningful day-to-day moments, finding pride for self in the way that you show up in the world, and just like really reprogramming how valuable you are and how amazing you are as a human being. We have to do that if you're going to care enough to fuel your body properly and avoid poison. Like if you hate yourself, whatever, eat the Doritos. I don't care. What does it matter? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You won't stick to any kind of long-term change that's healthy for you if you don't feel worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my daughter is so funny. I've always, like you said, been encouraging and been like, no, you need to eat what makes you feel good. Your body needs to feel energized by what you're eating. So, if you're eating this and it's making you tired, then that's not what you eat. And I thought that I had never once spoken about fat or uh, diets or whatever, but she told me, Mom, you say you're fat all the time. I'm like, I never use those words. And I don't. But she could see the way that I was looking at myself in the mirror. Like they pick
Mm-hmm.
up on everything. You can lie to them all day long. You
Yeah.
can lie about your marriage. You can stay in a marriage that is unhappy for the kids. They know what's going on. They can
Mm-hmm.
feel the tension. They can feel the dissociation from each other, from yourselves, and then they're going to go and they're going to do that marriage. So if you want your kid to be happy, you have to be truly happy. Faking
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work.
No, never. I mean, fundamentally, I don't know how woo woo you want to get here. To some, it's woo woo. To me, it's quantum mechanics. It's how reality works. But I'll say it from my own personal statement. So I'm not saying this is true for everyone else, right? My subjective truth. This entire reality that I live in, that I'm looking out around at right now, is a reflexive holosphere. It is a mirror that is changing in every millisecond based on my internal thoughts, my self talk, the way that I feel, the choices that I'm making every day. I am changing this simulation around me in every single millisecond. And the two most powerful mirrors that we can get as human beings are one, conscious romantic partners, where we're really doing the thing, we're really growing together, and two, children. Like you just got a ridiculously clear mirror reflection from this little human that you created, that is just like
Yeah.
the ultimate mirror for you. So when we can look at life like that and just look at it as lessons, right? And stop shaming ourselves or judging ourselves for the struggles that we have, or even this moment with your daughter, like you can either, oh my God, my daughter got this message from me, or it's like, wow, that's amazing data. Okay, I need to sit and have a conversation with this little girl and talk about what's going on here. I don't know how old your daughter is, by the way, but just like have that conversation of like, hey, wow, I'm realizing now that I gave you this message, being honest about your own struggles and insecurities, and here's what I went through. And why don't you tell me how you feel about your body? And opening that conversation and having these, some people may call hard conversations. They're just radically honest conversations. The hardest conversations are the most honest conversations. And then as you get reps in, they're not so hard anymore. So we like
Yeah.
in my relationship, we have a no lying policy, right? It's like if you ever read the book Conscious Loving, they talk about micro truths. Like you tell the truth about everything, no matter what. Same with your kids. Tell your kids the truth, you know, and you're going to get a mirror reflection that is crystal clear and usually beneficial for life.
Yeah, absolutely. All the little white lies that we tell are
Mm.
just, I mean, now I catch myself if I do it at all, and I have to be like, nope, that wasn't true. Here's
Yeah.
what's true. And then,
Right. Right.
but it's like this vulnerability that is, but like you said, you want a crystal clear reflection. You really want to know yourself
Yeah.
and and really understand the truth so that your life circumstances can be what you want them to be. If you continuously lie to yourself, you're not going to get what you want.
No, you can't. And that's the mask, right? Like the mask that I was wearing as a performer was, well, if I am just the super confident, charismatic, talented guy all the time, I'm the life of the party, I always got a smile on my face. If I'm always that guy, I'm going to get so much love. Wow, look at all this love I'm getting. And none of it lands. It can't
Yeah.
penetrate the armor that I'm wearing because I'm presenting an inauthentic version of self, and these people are loving something that doesn't actually exist. So I'm not getting love. An avatar or a caricature that I have created and put out into the world, that's getting love. And that's not a real thing. So I've
Yeah.
now disconnected myself from even being able to receive love. And that was what I had to tease apart, right? I have an exercise that I do, especially with male clients, called Who Am I If? Who am I if I can't play the piano and sing? Who am I if I don't have millions of dollars in the bank? Who am I if I don't have these businesses and all these clients and these people that look up to me? Who am I if I don't have all the social media followers? Who am I? Right? Let's get to that. And then ironically, the
Yeah.
more of that guy I share, there's more money, there's more followers, there's more, like, everything. Everything just improves by me just being the most authentic version of self because I'm actually getting that validation for the person that I am. So it lands and it improves my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of men, one of my favorite topics is sexuality, and that women are not, like, half of the women in the world have never experienced an orgasm,
Mm.
and they will fake it or lie to their partner, to make it so that it can be over faster because it feels like a chore, or to not hurt his feelings or bruise his
Sure.
ego. And so either he can't handle the feedback, or she just can't handle thinking that she's going to hurt his feeling, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of women miss that when they're not having an orgasm and they're trying to fake it, the partner, just like the child, can feel it, can energetically sense that she's not present.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're not orgasming is because we're not in our body and we're not present, because we have nerves and sensations, and if we're present with them and we feel safe to feel those sensations, um, then we will feel them. But when we have so much shame around our sexuality and our body, we go up into our head, we start thinking about our to do list or whatever else we should
Mm-hmm.
do. We leave our partner by himself. We might be fantasizing that it's somebody else and somebody else because we can't imagine ourselves that way. We feel too dirty or gross or ugly or whatever it is. I think this is super important because, if half the women in the world, that's a quarter of the world's population, is not having orgasm and pleasure, and our sexual energy is our creative energy. It's,
Yeah.
what helps us stay in our body, and it's our life force. Well, then those partners of those women are also suffering sexually. And so that's half of the world's population that is not in touch with themselves and is, I mean, we talk about dissociation in psychology as if it's a rare thing.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. No, in a lot of ways I think it's the norm, you know? And I mean that's even if we don't go down the hallway or the rabbit hole of hormonal birth control, which heavily impacts that situation. But no, it's one of my
We
favorite
can
topics
do
in the
that.
world. Yeah. Yeah, we can go there too. It's like I have a program for men. It's mostly male entrepreneurs who have made a tremendous amount of money in their lives, usually very young, by their late 20s, early 30s, and the other 90% of their lives have been completely ignored. It's just, I know how to make money and that's it. And like, now I have a Lambo. Why don't women love me? What's happening? I wear a Rolex. Ugh, you know, and helping them sort out this idea of like intimacy and where this comes from. And I'm taking them from prince energy into king energy, which is where you can hold, kings can hold the emotional expression of their partner without being triggered by it. They can just provide a safe space for these emotions to happen. Now, most of the time, a lot of times I'm dealing with men who are 55 years old and they're still in their prince energy. They never figured it out. But a lot of it is this. So women have this idea of one, self betrayal. The other person's needs matter more than your own. I actually see this a lot in what I call mommy martyrdom as well, right? Women are
Oh,
really programmed that they are like of service. And this is the thing. And like, oh, I don't want to hurt his feelings, like you said. But then they're also a lot of times dealing with a prince who, if they got feedback of like, hey, we could actually do this better, then you have a little boy who's triggered and you told him he did a bad job and now he's flying off the handle and it turns into conflict and all this stuff. But also a lot of women feeling like they are too much. So I speak to a lot of women, especially around the topic of orgasms, where it's like they've never had one with their partner and they would like to, but also if they're there, let's say it's something like oral sex, you know, they're 6 minutes in, and these women are checking their watch and oh my god, I'm taking too long. This he's been down there. And it's just like I'm too much, I'm too much, I'm too much, and they're in their head. And they're like, they think that this person is doing an obligatory thing that they don't actually want to do, right? It's like all these stories in their head. Whereas like I've never met a man who is a halfway decent guy who is not 100% here to maximize your sexual pleasure. If you state your needs, tell me what you need. Tell me, does this work? How does this feel? What would you like to experience that is different? In the past, when you have orgasmed by yourself, what gets you there? Like I want to learn about you. I want to understand you as a spirit, as a soul, as a body, everything, right? So this, and then you get into the other piece about hormonal birth control is it really ruins what I call like the divine feminine, it's the word I'm looking for, like discernment, right? So you're ending up with partners that you're like wouldn't even actually be attracted to if you weren't off hormonal birth control. Is that the signaling is really messed up, and it really. So anyway, there's a lot of things I just covered there, but it really is a wild situation we find ourselves in with sex in America. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's well, we could talk for probably days. These are like big topics that we just kind of barely touched on, but
Yeah.
I think we don't want to overload the audience. So
sure. I'm happy
think,
to do a round two at any point that you want to.
yeah,
This
I
is
think
great.
we should. Yeah. I loved this conversation and thank you for taking the time and tell us where to find you and how to work with you.
Sure. Yeah. So I basically run everything at this point through my Instagram. My social media handle everywhere is just at Justin Nault Official. I like to talk to people. So go to Instagram at Justin Nault Official, click the follow button, click the message button, and just send me a message. Say, I heard you on a podcast. I want to talk about food. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about whatever. I'll just ask you questions and see if I can help you. I'll help you directly. If you just need me to point you in the direction of free resources, I'll send you my foods list. I'll send you any of the exercises you heard me talk about today. I'll just give them to you. Just give me a shout. It will be me. It won't be a member of my team. I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Let's chat. You know, that's the best way. Just DM me on Instagram.
Awesome. That's wonderful. It's really nice for people to be able to connect with you directly.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Thank you for being here, Justin, and we will do a round two for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.